If anybody thinks in South Africa that you can take the land without compensation, you're living in a dream. Let me put it quite frankly to you. If you want to start a civil war in South Africa, do that. Do that. And I told you before.
It's shocking to think that Moeletsi Mbeki, once an advisor, holds such shallow views on the land question. His ignorance is not just alarming, it's a barrier to progress. Greetings, fellow South Africans. I'm Kondos from Nkare. It's time. Today we are addressing a critical issue: the misconceptions surrounding land reforms in South Africa. Recently, Moeletsi Mbeki's comments have sparked controversy, revealing a profound misunderstanding of our nation's history and the importance of land redistribution. Let's dissect his claims and uncover the truth together. Mbeki's controversial statements. Mbeki has stated that most black people live in the cities and peri-urban areas. Even if they were to get the land back, they wouldn't know what to do with it because they don't have the skills or the funds to farm. Such remarks not only generalize, but also undermine the capabilities and aspiration of many black South Africans.
Well, if you gave me land tomorrow, I would have no idea what to do with it. I don't know how to farm. I wouldn't know how to drive a tractor. I wouldn't know where to put a maize seed when. So there is a myth in which the politicians are perpetrating, that every African person in South Africa is a peasant and therefore wants to go back to the land and become a farmer. That's absolute nonsense. The majority of African people in South Africa live in the urban areas, and they live especially in the metros, and they know nothing about farming. So to perpetuate the myth that every African person is a peasant who wants to have a few cows and a plow and to go and plow a field and grow maize, it's a fantasy. I don't know how we can get this fun. You know, every society has myths. This is one of our myths amongst the black South Africans. It's a myth that, you know, we are such and such. These are stereotypes. You see, people have stereotypes which they then believe, which have nothing to do with reality. It's very sad to find big political parties wasting their time talking about expropriating land. From whom to whom? The land in South Africa is owned by South African citizens. If you want to buy a farm, if you want to grow maize and you want to buy a farm, there are farms on the market every day of the week, every day of the year. You can go and buy one. You can buy a wine farm if you want. You can buy a cattle farm if you want. You can buy any farm in South Africa. In the past, under apartheid, you couldn't. Well, there is no longer apartheid. You can buy a farm if you have the money, or if your bank will lend you the money, you can buy a farm. But you have to pay back the money you borrow from the bank.
The reality of land use. Contrary to Mbeki's narrow view, land is multifaceted. It's essential for housing, agriculture, business development, and more. Many black South Africans are eager to utilize land for various purposes, but are hindered by systemic barriers, not a lack of desire or knowledge. Historical context of land dispossession. The history of land in South Africa is marred by dispossession and injustice. Recognizing this past is crucial for understanding the present demands for land reform. It's not just about economic utility. It's about rectifying historical wrongs and restoring dignity.
It also means that those who have taken the land from the rightful owners, from the indigenous people in this country, have to return the land. Now, that doesn't go down very well with some of these Afrikaner farmers. But you know what? tough luck for them. They have to face the reality of the new South Africa. The land must be returned to the original owners, and the land must be there for the wealth and the empowerment of the people. Let me give you an example. If you come and steal my car, and I find out there's Titus's home, that is where my car is parked.
Yes.
Well, I go there with my wallet and come to you and say, Titus, can I pay you for my stolen car? That's nonsensical.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, that is what the ANC negotiated at Kudesa, because we went and enshrined in the Constitution, Section 25. We went and enshrined property rights in the Constitution, which gives property rights to the white community who are the benefactors of the colonial stealing of the land. Now we say if we want land, the land must be paid for. Isn't it the same as you've stolen my car, but if you want my car to come back to me, I must pay you? That's absolute nonsense. So if the white community doesn't like the reality that they've been benefactors of colonial thievery, and that the land must be returned to the rightful owners, then it is hard luck for them.
The path forward. Effective land reform requires comprehensive support, education, access to capital, and infrastructure development. By empowering individuals with the necessary resources, we can ensure that redistributed land becomes a foundation for prosperity.
I've often said too, even foreign investors have no fear. And I've said, there's just no way we can invite foreign investors to come to our country. We say, come, invest, and tomorrow we take your land away. That is not going to happen. And that is not sensible. That is not something that any sensible person does. But at the same time, we're going to pass a law which we call the Expropriation Act in Parliament. Every country has a law like that. We've always had that type of law, and we're now revamping it and we're aligning it to the current imperatives. And that law is now going to say these are the types and parcels of land that can actually be looked at for the expropriation process. And we've got large parcels of land in our country, and a number of those are owned by state-owned enterprises, municipalities and all that. In the urban areas, people want land to build homes and houses, and most of that is owned by municipalities or state-owned enterprises. We're going to be focusing on that.
Now, in your most recent tweet, you posted, or X rather, Ramaphosa had signed the so-called Expropriation Act, which is basically land expropriation without expropriation of land, and this guy is evil. I shall be breaking down the act to show it's a farce and a sellout project. Anyone who thinks Ramaphosa can expropriate land is lost. I mean, you've gone as far as also calling it a con. Could you walk us through your reasons for this stance?
Indeed, this act is a colossal betrayal of our people. There's no way where it says land expropriation without compensation. There's nothing fundamentally new from the apartheid 1975 Expropriation Act, which basically said where land is being expropriated, market-related compensation must be paid. You know, that's a little bit like saying, if I steal your car and you want it back, you must still pay me, the thief of your car. This is what this act is about. And the problem is not really the act. The problem is in the Constitution. Section 25 of the Constitution protects the property of land thieves, as we call them. And it says if you are going to expropriate, you must pay just an equitable compensation. Now, what that means has been clarified by our courts. Just an equitable compensation is market value. So basically, this act says when we want our land, we must go back. And if the land thief is willing to sell we can only buy then. So there's nothing new. It is the same old process of willing buyer, willing seller, which benefits land thieves once more.
Moeletsi Mbeki's views reflect a disconnect from the realities and aspirations of many South Africans. It's imperative that we challenge such misconceptions and advocate for informed, inclusive policies that address both historical injustices and future opportunities. Join the conversation. What are your thoughts on land reform in South Africa? Share your perspective in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Inkari. It's time for more in-depth discussions. Together, let's drive the informed change and build a more equitable future. Until next time, stay engaged and stay empowered. Thank you for watching and take care.